In this video, I'm heading to a remote corner of the Victorian coastline in the south of Australia to recreate a 1700s sealers camp. I have to set up a camp protected from the elements on a rugged beach, and I'm also taking limited equipment and gear with me that could have been found in the late 1700s. I want to explore what life would have been like for the early settlers, and I try and find my own food and water from the resources around me. I camp next to a seal colony and reflect on what it was like for those men who were part of one of colonial Australia's first industries. The first settlers were landing on the remote coastlines of southern Australia in the late 1700s. Life was hard and often brutal, and the resources they brought with them were limited. Soon after the first fleet landed in Botany Bay in 1788, boats were arriving to hunt whales off the coastline of New South Wales. With this came the discovery of seal colonies with their valuable skins and oil, and the Australian fur seal was the most prized for its pelts. But by the late 1700s and well into the 1800s, sealing really took off in Australia in Bass Strait. The big colonies of fur seals were to be found off the coasts of Tasmania, Victoria, and the islands in between. Often a sealer's camp was rough, with only a few items they had on them, and in some of the most lonesome and isolated parts of the new colony. G'day everyone, welcome back to another video, and I'm on a pretty rugged part of the Victorian coastline, and wanting to do a camp like a 1700 sealer, do it rough on the coast. Now I'm on the point here, and there's actually two beaches on either side. This one's a little bit more calm, but this side actually has a seal colony out there, and since I'm going as a 1700 sealer, I want to make camp down there by the seal colony, so that'll be pretty cool. So I've got to find a way to get down there. It's pretty steep. Let's see what I can find. Just want to be careful going down here, that's for sure. Do not want to trip. This is what I've got to work with tonight. So as you can see, there's a bit of a rock formation here, sort of a semi-cave really, and there's a lot of protection that it gives. Now this is the kind of thing that old sealers would have looked for in the past, somewhere that's going to just naturally give them a bit of protection, and their camps were really rough. So there is a bit of wood here because obviously someone has made a shelter here in the past. So what I'll do is I'll use this wood to make a platform to sleep on, so I'm on some flat ground. And okay, so just want to go through what I've got for tonight, and this is based on things that could have been found in the 1700s, so I'm going very basic. Oilskin tarp made of cotton, and then obviously with an oilskin coating on it. You could use it as a makeshift tent. I don't think I'll have to use it, maybe I'll wrap myself up in it tonight. Woolen blanket here. I've got a lantern. This is a modern day lantern, but you know, they had lanterns back in the day. In my little wax canvas bag here, I've got a few things. I've got a little hand lined, I've got some twine, I've got a pipe with some tobacco, flint and steel to try and get fire going tonight, and then I wanted to bring a pretty rough knife with me, so I've ended up bringing this. No, this is actually from Africa, but it's a very rough knife with a wooden handle, and you know, I wanted to go with something that a 1700 sealer would have, something real makeshift and rough, and that's what I've got with me for my knife tonight. I'd also like to point out that I've got this sharpening stone here. So this is to sharpen my knife, and this was given to me by Carl, so I want to say thank you very much, Carl, for that. I really appreciate that. And so I'll be using this to sharpen this knife. In my billy I have, this is a plastic bottle, but let's just pretend it's glass, but there's a little bit of kerosene for the light, fork and spoon, little bit of salt, a little bit of oil in a glass bottle, and in my tucker bag. It's actually a flour bag. I've got a little bit of flour, so I'm hoping I'll be able to gather my own food from the resources around me, but I also can make a little bit of damper bread if I need to. And that's basically what I've got for this trip. Even though it's winter, it's actually pretty warm today. We've had a bit of an early spring come, and I'm wearing all woolen gear, so it'll be good for the night when it gets cold, but it's hot in the sun. But it is really nice to get a bit of nice weather after doing a lot of you know, really cold survival challenge type videos. So this camp's going to be a pretty beautiful camp on the beach. Good day, mate. Pretty rough, but actually not too bad. That's my setup for tonight. Pretty secure in there. And I've got a good view of the seals out there. Probably wondering, why did I actually end up putting the oil skin up and all these cross beams? And it's because a lot of this rock is a bit, I don't know, it feels a little bit crumbly. And tucking myself in there at night with no kind of protection, I don't know, I just feel much more secure with this. This is quite sturdy and strong. I mean, I'm hoping nothing big will come down, but you know, some of this little stuff might fall in the night. I'm going to be protected if it does. Alright, camp set up, firewood sorted. Now it's all about getting water. Now I do have a stainless steel container with a little bit of water in there, but it's definitely not going to be enough, especially if I'm going to do some cooking and if I want to make some damper bread. So this is going to be the hardest part, trying to source water. Now I do know on the other side of this cliff, on the other beach, there is a trickle, a little stream that I can use. It's a bit of a walk, so I'd rather find something on this beach, but it's not looking good. It's been a dry winter, and anyway, I'm going to go have a look, and also just want to see what else is around this beach that I can utilize. You know, is there a good fishing platform around here? Is there any bait that I can get out of the rock pools to use for fishing? That's what I'm going to do right now. Look at this place. Look at the rock formations. Unreal. Sometimes there's little pools that filter in here, but it's not looking good. Nothing here. That is cool. I wonder if you could get down there. You could go up and over like that, and it looks like there might be a little bit of water. And just slide down nice and slow. It's fresh water dripping off the rocks, but goodness, it's going to take a long time to fill up your water with that. I might have to go for a big walk and go to another water source. I don't know if you can see that. A few of these are good for bait. You could fish there for sure. There'll be lots of fish in there. someone had a shack here at some point that they made. This would be cool to fix up, and got a little sleeping platform in there and everything. All right. Here is the only bit of fresh water I can find. So unfortunately, that's the only water source that's here. And I didn't bring a cup to be able to scoop it up, so I might look for an abalone shell or something like that so I can scoop the water up. Now realistically, sealers would not camp in an area that has no reliable water source, because that's just death to not be able to have reliable water. So they wouldn't really camp here. Now let's say there was a reliable water source here. Sealers would more likely camp on this side of the cliff than the side that I am on. And the reason for that is this is an east-facing cove, which means it's going to be protected much more. Where I am, it's facing towards the west, so all those southwest storms in Victoria would roll in. It'd be much more protected here, and you can even see it's less stony and there's more of a grassy flat area. You could set up a little base camp here if you're a sealer. It's much more calm here, so you could dock your boats in this cove and then, you know, row over to where the seals are. I just really wanted to camp in that little cave there because it looked really cool, but realistically, sealers probably wouldn't set up a base camp here. They would set up a base camp where there's going to be reliable water. And that is what I'm looking for. That's going to be perfect to scoop up fresh water. So have a look at this. I've actually found this old bottle, and that'll be helpful for storing the water. I'll obviously go clean that out, but I can store my fresh water in there. And of course glass bottles were around in the 1700s, so awesome, I'll use that. All right, time to go for a fish on this point. See if I can catch anything. Oh, I like my chances of fishing in here. G'day seals. This is where the seals hang out. Oh, I don't want to disturb you fellas, I just want to go for a fish. Now, of course, in the 1700s, they wouldn't have had nylon fishing line. I'm not quite sure what they would have used, whether a wax thread or just very fine string or rope. But I'm kind of cheating here using nylon. Oh no! Bugger, I already got a snag straight away and I didn't bring any spare sinkers, so I'll try and find a stone. I've got 2 spare more hooks. After that it's all done, so. It feels like I'm getting nibbles. Let's watch this swell. Gotta watch for that. Oh, I had a fish. I had a fish, but it took it off. I'm not having any luck today, guys. There you have it. My fishing dreams have come crashing down, and so close. I actually got a few bites and a few nibbles. that was my last snag, because that was my last hook. It means I might have to just scavenge up some greens for tonight. I doubt I'm going to swim out there and kill one of those seals, that's for sure. One thing you could do, this is a low tide rock pool. You could actually go in there and look under these rocks for abalone. There's a chance that abalone could be under those rocks. I just don't know if I can be bothered getting fully wet right now. Home sweet home. Now I wanted to make a fish broth and catch a fish. Obviously that's not going to happen, but I can still cook up a bit of a vegetable stew, you could say. Now I have a book here, and this is Tim Lowe, and this is like the Bible for pretty much wild food plants of Australia. And I do know a few food plants that I can collect here, especially bower spinach, but I'm going to have a look through here and see if there's any other stuff that I can collect. And I'm just going to get a whole bunch of greens, and I'm going to boil them up and make a bit of a soup with some water and some salt and some oil. And yeah, that'll be a bit of a dinner tonight. And one thing that the early settlers and the sealers did when they first came here was find greens that they could boil up, because a lot of them got scurvy from not eating a lot of greens. And so yeah, they found local greens that the indigenous pointed out to them, and they were able to use them to, yeah, obviously get some greens into them. So here's a funny thing. I literally have edible foods growing in my shelter. This is pig face. The leaves of this you can use to cook up, which I will do that. This here is bower spinach. Yeah, obviously it's like a spinach when you boil it up. And this here is like a sea celery, which you can also use and boil up. So I've got plenty of stuff here that I'm going to collect. Yeah. As I look out to sea on this coastline, I think how intriguing it is what I've learned about those first sealers. I don't want to sugarcoat it though. Sealing was a brutal affair, often attracting brutal men. Seals were hunted down on their rocky outcrops and butchered and bludgeoned to death by the masses. So much so that certain species like the elephant seal were wiped out of existence in the Bass Strait, and the fur seal colonies were almost decimated within 50 years. The men who were attracted to this lifestyle were also harsh, and though I admire their courage and fortitude in a lonely part of the world, it is easy and rightful to be horrified at some of their actions. Bloody and violent skirmishes often occurred between English and American sealers who had eyes on the same seal colony, and there are many accounts of the first sealers killing Aboriginal men and then taking their women for themselves. This is not at all a rosy picture of life in those early years. It's strange to think about such brutality happening among an arena of such beauty, and we can acknowledge the wrongs done during harsh times. But nonetheless, sealing and the sealers played a large part in the development of the country in the late 1700s to early 1800s. I'm grateful these animals are now protected, free to roam and play in the coastal waters once more. We can look back on history and learn from many aspects of it, while looking ahead and being grateful that certain practices don't happen on this land anymore. Now, I did bring this lantern out so that I can have a light going all night. Would have been really nice. But unfortunately, I cannot get that lid open. I've tried so hard and I don't have the strength to do it. It's I don't know what's happened. It's fused up, but I don't have pliers or a multi-kit or anything with me to be able to open that up, so I guess no lantern tonight. So here are my greens. I'm going to fry them first. I'm going to let that boil. Let's add the rest of the salt. Make a salty, soupy broth. So that's well and truly boiling now, but I'll let it boil for 5 minutes so those greens are really soft. That can come out now. Okay. Time to try this soup. You could survive on it. Breakfast.
There was a bit of a sea breeze that came through during the night. It was getting quite cold there, but then it got really still at around 3 AM and warmed up quite a bit, so it's been really nice this winter just doing sleeps by the fire. Oh, this is number like 4 or 5 camp that I've actually slept by the fire all night and had it going all night, and I just really love it. It's part of the reason why I love winter so much, is that I get to do these camps where I can just sleep by the fire and keep warm all night, so it's really nice. I'm just down here and I'm watching the seals. They're out playing again and they're jumping and frolicking in the water, and it's crazy just imagining and thinking about how sealing was, you know, pretty much a very important
if not one of the first industries that we had in European Australia back in the day. And even though it played a big part in growing this country, I'm very happy that seals are protected now, and because they're really cool animals. They're actually one of my favourite animals, I think. Yeah, but crazy to think about what the old fellas used to go through, and that's why I love doing these camps and just putting myself, you know, for a day and a night and just imagining I'm there back in the 1700s or whatever. But anyway, it's something I want to talk about as well. Just talk about this channel and the vision of this channel, because sometimes, you know, you get some people who seem confused in the comments, and look, 99% of people in the comments are so supportive and great, but every now and then you just get someone who's so negative and rips into the video, and they'll pick out one little aspect that is not 100% accurate, or, you know, this type of traditional bushman craft would not be in this environment at this time of the year. Like, they just get so negative over it. So, you know, this channel is not about being 100% historically accurate at all times. I mean, it's impossible to do that by the fact that I'm filming it with a modern day camera, and I've got a modern day emergency kit with me as well. So, you know, this video is about a journey of rediscovering the history of this country, and, you know, something I'm really passionate about, and I have a lot of knowledge about, but I have a lot more to learn as well. And just trying to go out and camp in places with old style era gear as much as possible, and come up with creative situations and things like that. So yeah, just to clarify, my videos are going to be, you know, a range of different things. They might be camps like this one where I'm trying to be really as accurate to the historical period that I'm discovering, or that I'm trying to portray. Other camps I mix it up. I like, you know, going out to a place where, you know, people usually wouldn't have gone, but yeah, just bringing limited gear and only traditional gear. Other times I mix it up as well. I bring a bit of modern and I bring a bit of new. And then there are some camps where I went up in the snow where, you know, I go to a historical hut, but I'm bringing all modern gear. So yeah, just so you know, guys, this is, yeah, just about trying to push myself as much as possible while learning about the history of this country and sharing about the history of this country. So yeah, if something is not 100% historically accurate, unless I actually say something that's false, you can call me out on that. But if I'm just doing a little challenge or something like that, there's no need to get negative. Just enjoy the videos. It's a lot of work to make these videos, from planning to execution to editing it all up. So, you know, 99% of you, I know you enjoy the videos and you love it. But for those few 1% who feel like you have to get negative on every little aspect, just don't watch the video then. That's probably the best idea. Otherwise, it's been so beautiful to get out here and just enjoy this and be out here doing what I love. And this is what I love doing, and I'm going to keep on doing it. Otherwise, I reckon it's about time to pack up. And since this was actually, someone had built a shack here originally, and that's what all the wood was doing, since I'm going to leave the wood here, I actually might just leave this set up. So if anyone else is lucky enough to be able to come and find this and discover this, they have a nice little sleeping platform to sleep on, so good for them.
Thank you for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it and would like to see more outdoor adventures while exploring Australian history, then make sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a comment and a like below.